any thought yet. Yes. So, I want to talk about something real quick when it comes to that. Why do you think in that whole big polysphere that I've only heard the younger brothers and sisters talking about it, but why do you think that is? That black people of any sex, of any kind of orientation, are getting sometimes the cold shoulder or just not finding more representation so that they can have other people to mix and mingle it with or get together with, connect with.
How come people in the poly community are getting the cold shoulder?
The black people that go or are searching through that community.
I think because of all of the negativity they feel is attached to it. You know, the females are embarrassed to say they're sharing because most other females will be like, girl, you crazy. Well, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. I would never do something like that. And a man might be getting it from his boys, but he's saying, yeah, well, you know, I let my women see other men, you know, from time to time if that's what she's looking to do. And I see other women, and they're like, you know, why would you let somebody else be hitting it up with your wife? Or why would you let her go off? You're not worried about her finding somebody else or finding somebody better or.
So do you think it's just about that sex? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think that's why people don't discuss it openly. I think you're not gonna know there's other people out there because everybody's so afraid to have the conversation and say, you know, this is what I'm about, this is what we do, this is what we believe.
Okay, but the majority of people believe that that type of thing, these open and shared and various things are all about sex. That's what they believe.
Yeah, that is what they believe.
And you don't think that?
No, a shared relationship's not all about sex. I mean, it is a part of it, of course, because you desire to be with someone else. It's not like you desire to be with them just to go to the movies, or you desire to be with them
Well, there's people
just
who
to
do
hang
that.
out. Well, then that's not a polyamorous relationship. That's you got another friend that you want to hang out
Well,
with.
this is the deal. Why a lot of the issues that come up, it doesn't matter if the person is having sex or not. If we're playing the game and you just found out I was at the movies up the road with Shaniqua and I told you I was going over to Larry's house. But some nosy busybody seen me coming out the theater all hugged up laughing with Shaniqua and then they gave you a hit, let you know what's up. Now I'm coming home and
The first thing out of my mouth is, why would you lie about going to Larry's if you knew you were going to the movies with Shaniqua? The only reason you would be lying is because you know not only are you going to the movies with Shaniqua, you're probably fucking Shaniqua too. Because other than that, you could have said.
This the clean version, huh?
You could have said, hey babe, I'm going to the movies with my girl Shaniqua.
My woman, Shaniqua.
My girl as in my girlfriend as in my friend.
You know I like them colloquial street terms, but
now
it's fine.
my woman, to me, if you say she's your woman, then that denotes a different quality of the relationship.
Alright. Let me stop for somebody then you try to call me bougie, but well, you don't want to say girl, you this and that. Okay. But the majority of people believe it's about sex. So what I'm saying is, when they find out that their partner, their mate, husband, boyfriend, wife, okay, has been out doing anything with anyone, no matter how innocent it may have appeared, they're going to be confronted about it, especially if they didn't know about it. If they knew about it, they may try to protest and they might get shut down, or they might not be able to say or do anything about it at that time that they really feel like they want to. But it comes out and it's ugly.
Mhm.
And it isn't, I caught them at the hotel. I seen some naked pictures on his phone when I broke into it when he was asleep.
Right.
I'm joking.
No, you ain't joking. 'Cause that's what happened.
You know,
That's exactly
I
what
seen
happened.
this on her laptop, but she didn't know I was looking.
Mhm.
Okay, it's just nothing. It's innuendo. Okay, so people are getting sometimes killed over the innuendo.
But we cannot discount the fact that if another person is being brought in, if your partner says to you, "I need some different energy," sex is a part of it.
I say this:
It's not
sex
the
can
only.
be a part of it. I don't think, again, that's not really what they need. And a lot of people, to be honest, aren't seeking that. That's why I say it will look different. It has to go different in our community.
Mhm.
First off, most of us don't have the kind of setup that could support that.
Mhm.
There are older black couples and people who do it. Um, in the book, what's the woman's name that wrote the book, The Joy of Sex, way back then?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
She wrote another book, and she wrote it about different types of relationships.
Mhm.
And there was a trend going on then, and it was started at, well, where they first recognized it was in Florida, where some older people were pooling together their Social Security so that they could afford to live a decent quality of life. And it was 3 women and 1 guy. And so they asked him, say, you know how people are, you all have sex? And they said, oh, he has sex with all of us.
Mhm.
And they was like blown away by that. First off, this country is off the chain with not thinking elderly or older or
I'm telling
people
you.
over 50 have sex.
Shoot.
But anyway, um, the journalist was blown away by that and asked him, how did they come about that? And he's like, well, we all live in here. You don't think just because, you know, and the women were telling, saying, you think because we're older we don't have desires? You know, we all live here. We're all sharing a house. It's what we do. Now, of course, they don't look like us. So that's a big factor.
Mhm.
Let's face it. But I get where sexual involvement may be the norm because there's a progression. But I do like, even though sometimes it gets heady, the research that's done about it because it shows that people still want that anonymity.
Mhm.
They still want that. So I want us to be open, but I don't necessarily want to have to come to you every time that if I want to engage with someone else. Or I found someone that I'm very interested in and I'm building that with them, but I don't want to feel like I have to report to you
Right.
and give you these details.
Right.
Now, the issue with that is that I believe can be done, but in a different way.
Mhm.
And it's the same way that you said, let's go and see if we can find it. Personally, I think it just has to be, let me go and see if I can do that for you. Because this is, when we're talking from hardcore experience here, so we can get down and dirty talking here now. As a man,
Mhm.
if I go, I can pick 100 women. I don't want to be like that. I can pick some women
Mhm.
and go to them, and they will tell me they're 100% fine and open, and oh, it's all good, and this and that. I can show you a picture. I can speak your name. I can show all kinds of things. But in their minds, they see a man by himself.
Right.
Because it's just a man by himself talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whether you online, in person, what have you. You can even show a picture of the couple. And if you're talking as a man. Now I know it's the other way for a woman because I know that for a fact.
Well, yeah, I know because we talk about it and we.
No, I mean before that, all that.
We experienced it. I mean, you know, it happened.
So, what I say to those people that they're open to it and they want to really develop something and see where it goes, that it's going to have to be the woman that chooses the woman. And if you're looking or particularly seeking for a man, it needs to be that man. Because they're between the men, because of the Mars energy, they have to have a certain level of comfort. And same thing with the women, but usually women, y'all gonna know right off, and you're gonna be energetically more flowing and in tune. For men, it's more boxy. And that doesn't mean, well, the parameters are what you all said. We ain't gonna get into various sexualities and other stuff because at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about the people's perceptions you're dealing with when people are looking for that. Some of the stuff that was written in various magazines and other stuff for black people truly did not do a good job of talking about certain realities.
Right.
And that's my thing. It's all altruistic, all super spiritual. That's not real life. Come back to nature, be real, get grounded, and say, look, you know, this is what we're looking at. Let's go sit and talk. I don't want to put anybody on blast, but I did read a blog where a black woman was talking about how the brothers, if they're going to deal with more than one woman, they need to be able to financially meet those obligations. And then she talked about a couple of bad experiences where she was invited to go places and then she was expected to pick up the tab and then that wasn't what either was discussed or expected. And of course my thing is, that's true. I always say that. If you're dealing, you need to keep up some expenses. And the other time though is, if you're going to invite someone somewhere, then okay, you need to be very clear about if they're expected to pay or not.
Well, certainly. And as the invitee or invited, you should, if you're not clear, make sure you get clear.
Oh yeah.
Because
quickly.
I'm certainly not going to get put in a situation where, you know, okay, I know this brother is into me and he wants to take me out, but I also know that, you know, there's another person and, you know, she either may or may not be there, but let me A, find out if she is, or B, is this like, you know, each one's taking themselves, or you just taking your present wife?
Well, this particular, right,
you need
this
to
particular
be
blog
honest
was a couple
mm-hmm.
meeting a woman, but, you know, she was under the impression that the man was going to cover it. And then another time, she was invited somewhere, and the people just, you know, looked to her to pay. It was just kind of like, can't be dealing with, you know my feelings with that.
I do.
Okay, if you're going to deal with shady, don't feel bad when shady stuff happens. And you know shady.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want to, you know, you don't want to recognize the red flag when you see it waving over there.
Yeah.
You know, well, you know, I'm in between jobs, but I got my little hustle. Deuces. See ya. If you know you don't smoke weed and they just gotta get their hits in for the day, or several hits in for the day, deuces. I'm out. What they used to, I know it's old, they what, Audi 5000? I'm Audi 8000. Okay, if somebody, especially at the inception, is going to show you something that you know is not going in a way that you can do something with, stop pretending.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's the biggest thing. I think for us as a group, it goes back to individually knowing some things and then piecing that out. You're not gonna have some big group of movement of black people looking for some polyamory, not while you're still in the U.S. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
I'm sorry, the ingrained
Mhm.
indoctrination is too firm.
100%.
Uh, there's some stuff that was talked about, like just as some general guidelines. When you find out your partner wants something different, it doesn't mean they've already started on it. But say they have, and or you find out there's an affair or some other thing. First, you gotta, you gotta acknowledge those kind of things. Like again, Esther's research, and she said, first you gotta make a decision. You gonna end it or you're not.
Mhm.
Too many times people getting that back and forth. Yeah, I need you to leave her. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave her, and then they still going over there. You're like, I thought you told her to leave you alone. I thought this and that and that. Stop with it.
Right.
Make your decision, man. You gonna be in it or not?
Mhm.
Well, I'm gonna be in it, but I still want to be with you. If you're open to that, fine. If you're not open to that, say I'm not open to that. I don't want to practice that. I want exclusivity.
Right.
Stop using the term fidelity and monogamy. They don't work because that's not what they mean. Monogamy doesn't even exist anymore because that's having the same person, just that one person. So whoever you had sex with the first time in your life, own it because that's how it's going to be. Okay? And that doesn't exist.
Right.
So stop playing that game. And infidelity doesn't have anything to do with your sex at all. It has to do with your fidelity. Like Fidelity Bank assurities, meaning I could be sleeping with women all over town, and there's plenty of men that do, and pay all their bills on time for the house, and take all their kids to their games, and do all the other stuff. But they get their side action and this and that, whatever labels you want to use. They do all that too.
Right.
And women as well.
Mhm.
I know many professional women with families, with children, that handle their business. But you better believe when it was wood time for them, they went and got the wood that they wanted and kept it like that
Right.
on many occasions. So people will work some stuff out to get what they want. So we should first come to grips with we're not going to keep each other from what we desire and want.
Yeah.
So that conversation has to be there.
Yeah.
If you're going to be married, if I was a black woman married to the man now, and I wasn't, I don't even want to use that, but if I wasn't 75 years old, and I'm being very honest, if I wasn't 75 years old, because the women are living longer than men, so you can't say 60, 65, you definitely can't say 50, and you better not say 40.
Right.
Because you could be replaced real quick by somebody that somebody thinks in their mind is going to do something that you're not doing.
Right.
Because you refuse to even have a conversation. Sometimes you don't even have to get to the point of executing some things because, as we said, we don't really understand how powerful the brain is and how it works. Sometimes just having the conversation is enough. But we've been taken aback to be so conservative, more conservative than the Victorian ones that was beating and whipping and killing us, who was over here and they wasn't doing it. But you're gonna do it. And ruining yourself. You're ruining your health and you're ruining your relationships. Have the conversation. So after you figuring that, you staying in the knot, acknowledgement. Can't play the guilt game on either side. Can't play the guilt game at all.
That's true.
At all. anything close coming up as guilt, do whatever you got to do to get rid of it.
Yeah, because it just comes back with that, oh, let me toss it in his face, or let me toss it in her face whenever something else comes up.
Mm-hmm. Hold yourself a little vigil. Meaning, okay, you find out after sleeping with Betty down here for the last year, okay, you and me was having some problems, and I explained, I just felt it was easier. I could see her a couple of times a week, you know, still come home to you. She's clean, she's this, she's that. I don't have to worry with stuff. We're not having no kids. You was having some issues, and then me and you was getting into it because our sex life changed, and I just didn't feel like going through that.
Right.
I just couldn't have the conversation and put things where they need to be.
Right.
So you find that out, and I say, I want to stay with you. I don't want to end our relationship, this and that. And you say, well, I have to think about it because I proposed being open to you. And you're like, you already been doing this and that and that. I would have to think about it. You make a decision to stay or to go. If you decide to stay, then stay.
Right.
You can't stay and be okay with staying. Leave.
Please.
Leave. Not stay and every time a certain commercial come on. I remember I found out you was down the street. No. Cut it out. You gotta set the standards and follow and enforce the standards. Meaning, if we're gonna do this, this is how we are gonna do it. Don't come to me with what everybody else doing or what you heard or what you read, because I'm only interested in what works for us.
Right.
So if it works for us, that it has to be on a Tuesday or a Thursday after 7, and you got to be home by 11:30 because the kids and this and that and that. But hey, from 7 to 11:30, you and this man that I know, and that's important because a lot of people come up missing because they're so thirsty or hungry or whatever they say, looking for that good chocolate, but what they get is a damn Snickers bar or some old crusty Babe Ruth or some other kind of candy that's full of junk and sugar and not real good or just poisonous.
Unfortunately. So
it's important that the right rapport is there and the right understanding is there too. Because don't ever think, and that takes something. It's something you have to build. Okay. Nothing is written in stone, so you have to be flexible. I mean, look, you're developing something. Nobody, see, that's one of the issues. There is no set pattern. It's just like everybody being told, hey, wouldn't it be great if you could have a house? But there's no house plans, whatever. You just looking at what other people have built and trying to come up with, well, that looks like it's good and that works, but that necessarily ain't going to work for me.
Exactly.
I need it to look like this. Well, you have to do that. But there's certain things that you have to know. Certain things that no matter what kind of house you're going to build, you need to have as a part of the way it's going to be laid out.
That's it. Everybody needs a foundation.
You can't do the 20 questions. You should be able to talk to your partner and look at the motives and where they're coming from. Have those kind of discussions. Not the kind of discussions, well, how many times was you at Betty's house? And, what ways was y'all doing it? And what was she wearing? And what she always do? Did she say stuff about me? That's not what you're looking for.
Is her booty better than mine?
Okay. What you're looking for is what's driving your partner that they're needing and seeking that. Now, if you don't care, you don't want to be there, then just say, hey, look, we can come up with a plan, an exit plan, whether it takes a week or a year. But most of the time, it's nigga get your shit, call Tyrone, and go. You know, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Or, you know, F you, be this and that, I'm not going to pay you to get your butt out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then what? Because practical reality says eventually they're probably going to wind up right back in there. Because where else they going to go? After things cool down, he done missed the booty, she done missed the steadiness. And then, well, you know, I ain't really mean that, I didn't mean this and that. And then they get back together and then they do it again.
Yeah.
And do it again. And do it again until some point something tips.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that's very bad. Sexual betrayal or an other betrayal. Some people see the whole outside thing as a serious offense. So that's why sometimes you get the madness where the woman ran over the man and ran over him until he died. Just what is that? I mean, what?
It's insanity. That's what it is.
Oh my gosh. Either, and I say this, and I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, if it's that good, then, you know, make some money off it. If he just won't, if it's that good, like, girl, he better not ever. This man, I'm gonna mess you up if you ever be with somebody else. It's so good to me. I'm like,
sometimes it's not even about it being that good. It's just about the
I don't think it's ever about it being
I
that
don't
good.
want
Come
you
on.
to give it to anybody. If it's mediocre, I still don't want you giving it to nobody else.
Because what? It's yours?
Because it's mine. Because you my husband. Because you married to me.
Wow.
Period. If
But-
I'm only getting it twice a week, I want to be the one getting it twice
But-
a week. Not Susie or Mary down the
But
street.
you got nothing to say about the 4 babies I got crossed down.
Well, that was then, this is now.
Okay, you say that. And they all do.
Mm-hmm.
And we all see what happens.
Yeah.
So sometimes the betrayal, though, people see it. You don't have to have the sex. You send a text.
Right.
Who you send a text to? You spend a lot of time at work. You working over? Why you working so much? You know, what's going on?
I called you. You didn't answer the phone. Thought you said you was at work. Why you didn't answer your desk phone?
Oh, man.
Been there. Been there.
Okay, just so we always talk about people in these marriages, in these relationships, and when someone is desiring something more, the people want to make themselves into a victim. And sometimes it's the other person that's a victim of the relationship or the marriage. Meaning, there's plenty of people suffering in silence in these marriages and relationships that if they had their druthers, they would just walk away. Don't pay me, don't look for me, don't just buy.
Right.
I mean, that's never given any discussion. And yes, we say leave, but we know people leave when they're ready to leave.
Yeah.
I don't care how much they're getting beat, how much they're getting hurt, how much they're disrespected, how much they're getting jilted. They leave. Everybody has their point when they've had enough. And you will know when you've had enough. When the pain gets enough, you will get up and leave.
Right.
You can tell them all you want. Man, you let her do that? You know you shouldn't be allowing that. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
She put all that money in church, didn't pay no house bills? Man, what are you doing? He ain't come home? How long he been going? He been going 2 days? You know, just sometimes people are victim of the marriage or the relationship, and that needs to be discussed as much as the whole he went out on me, she slept with somebody else on me,
Right.
stuff is talked about,
Mhm.
but we don't do it. An outside partner or relationship can inspire more from life, more from living, and more growth. Now, when I first heard that spoken, I heard Esther Perel speak, and then I thought about it, and I heard a few other people say that in all my other studies and stuff, especially when I went to the workshops.
Right.
But what it means is most people, when they're in the throes of some kind of, remember I talked about that new relationship energy,
Yeah.
the NRE. But when most people are in those throes, they feel a lot. They feel the burn.
Mhm.
We want the burn. You know, when we smoldering, because we done been here a couple years, and I know every move you're gonna make, and you know it's not gonna be anything different, and
Mhm.
you're not having the bliss moments, and really the burst moments. I don't know what kind of moments you have when you're having something.
Well, why can't you have the burn in the relationship you're already in? Why do you have to go out and seek the burn somewhere else?
I believe you can have the burn relationship you're in, but guess what? You gotta do the work.
Mhm.
You can't sit in front of the TV, drink your beer, go into the bedroom, damp your wash rag, swipe your balls, and have some woman you know say, "Hey, I want you to give me some head," then get on top and ride me,
Mhm.
so you know I can have my sex.
Right.
And sometimes she gets off, sometimes she doesn't, but she never has a release. So after a certain point, what that you think that's gonna do? So yeah, everybody wants to feel the burn, but everybody ain't gonna do the work. It doesn't take much, regardless of how much money you have and what you're doing. The effort.
So is it less effort with the new burn than it is with the old burn you're familiar with?
No, because of the way your brain works,
Mhm.
because the new person, you are seeking subconsciously, more so than consciously, to impress upon them. So you're going to be more mindful. You're going to so-called try harder.
Yeah.
You know, just a part of it.
Mhm.
There's people who will tell you, if you talk to enough of them, that there's a few people, I don't want to say too many, and definitely no names, that they occasionally go out just to pique the interest of their partner at home. They don't do anything, but just because the potential is there, they feel like that spurs them to try to deal with them better, to try harder, to
Mhm.
be a good partner to them, because they constantly see the potential that, you know, you can, marriage is a loving business.
Right.
Businesses fail all the time, and if a business, you were in business for 10 years and made $1 million, would you call that a failure? I don't call that a failure.
Certainly not.
You go out of business, you out of business. Hey, it was great.
Mhm.
Start another one.
Right.
But that's just the reality. So for the people that are having issues and those things come up, what she said was key, and we have said this many times ourselves. Wherever you were at is done. That energy has changed. Now you're presented with something else to work with. You either gonna work with that, or you're gonna go find something else to work with.
Right.
Like you just pretend you were a little kid sitting at the school desk with that clay they used to give out, and teacher then came around and picked up your little green ball that you was trying to make into a little ugly elephant, and now it's this red ball sitting there. You're like, red? Some people don't like the color red, so they'll be the kid that's sitting there not touching it.
Right.
Then there's some kids that's like so stuck on what they was working on before that they're gonna cry and moan and whine and can I have that one back and all that other stuff. Instead of working with what's in front of them.
Yep.
Then you got the ones that's going to get to it.
Make it work with what they got.
Yeah. Like, hey, let's see what kind of thing I can make out of maybe a red monkey. Or something. You know, a lot of that is key. I think in our community, we have some pathological behaviors that make it a bit challenging to look at doing a lot of the open polyamorous style sharing that's promoted and pushed that's out there. A lot of people have good ideas. Those ideas can work in small communities where they set up the base for it and you have pioneers who are willing to do that.
Right.
Because that's what it's going to take. But for the people at large who are struggling with wanting to do different things and have different things, instead of feeling their way through the dark with it, they really have to get educated, have serious discussion about some things, about the intents, the motives, the drives. Ask those 3 important questions. Does my partner know what I want or desire? Are they able to fulfill this or help me fulfill it? And are they willing?
That's it.
No to 1, we having a deep, deep discussion. No to 2 or all 3, time for the bags to get packed. Save yourself the money and the embarrassment because it's gonna come.
Right.
It's gonna come. Anything else you got to say about being open?
Try it. You might like it.
Ooh, okay.